Well, I'm Catherine Anion, the owner of Fifi and Edgar Bridal here in Bendigo, located across from the fountain. And yeah, I service all the beautiful brides in Bendigo, helping make their day exactly what they want it to be.
I'm Margot Spalding, and I felt that I would bring decades of experience to the mentor program. I'd been in business, some very successful, some not so successful, over a career of probably 40 years, and all of that in the world of being creative. And so, I thought it would be good. I never had a mentor any time through that, so I thought it would be good to be able to offer assistance to Catherine.
Yeah, well, when I had seen about the mentor program, I was really interested in that just because I do work primarily alone in the shop, and bouncing ideas off myself is never a great idea. And I also had plans in taking the business in another direction, and just having the assistance and the mentoring from someone else who has done that a million times over, I thought would be very useful. Yeah, so initially when I started off, I did all couture gowns, so making from start to finish. And then when I opened the shop in Viewpoint, I went into ready-to-wear, which is just buying off other suppliers and altering from when it comes in. And I just felt that took all creativity out of it. So this step was really to bring it back in and have control over it myself. So it's not full couture, it's still all created by me, and then just made in the same way as the ready-to-wear, so it's a lot simpler. Margot was a really great help because I tend to dream quite big and have all these ideas, and I think initially it was just bringing it down and focusing on what it all is and mapping out a plan of when and how to do that, which of course has changed quite a bit over the time, thanks to the lockdowns, which have held me back quite significantly, but I'm still, I can see the goal at the end, and I'm getting closer and closer, which is great.
Catherine's business had lost, I think, a high level of creativity because she'd gone into, or made the decision to go into off the shelf, is that what you call it? Off the ready-to-wear bridal, as she'd previously been producing her own designs, and that was really for economic reasons. And so but Catherine had this wonderful concept of producing her own designs, but in a very specific tailored fashion of business as opposed to tailored fashion of garments, both really. And so and I thought it was a really great concept. And quite similarly, I'd had a really big furniture business that was based pretty much on the same concept. And so I could see that it would work really well. And it's just a good way to do business. It's a sensible way to do business, but you're still being highly creative. It's just simplifying it. And sometimes I think, you can have the great ideas, but because Catherine works on her own, that's really hard, and you go round and round and round and you think about it all night, but it's very hard to clarify. In most of my businesses, I always had my husband and we could bounce off each other, but then we could go round and round and too. I think when you bring somebody in from outside who can be objective, but who's also seen it happen before successfully and not successfully, then I think you have the best of both worlds then, because you can actually talk to somebody and bounce ideas off. And because I've seen things and done things in business for so long, you can work out what's good, what's not, so what's going to work, what's not going to work, and really pick the eyes out of that. And that's what we were doing with Catherine. If I thought something was going to work well, or how it could be simplified or modified, then I would hope that worked well for her. There's no doubt that COVID had a huge impact, because you would just think of, Catherine would just think of starting something and launching into this, and then there'd be another lockdown. And also, weddings just weren't happening. So it's an industry that was really severely impacted by COVID. But, Catherine's still here in business, so all credit to her.
Oh, just being able to talk to someone about things and have someone help me create a bit of structure. And I know there's definitely been times where I've sort of texted Margot as well, just with some ideas, and some of those were shot down and some of those weren't. And just that alone is super, super helpful.
I think the most important part about being a mentor is being really receptive to the mentee, I don't even like the term, the mentee's ideas, and to be encouraging or not encouraging if something's not a good idea, but in a really respectful way, because it's not my life, it's not my business, but I'm trying to recognise. I mentor a lot of people, and I always try to recognise what I think is a really good idea, what's going to work well. But it's also, I've had ideas over the years, and I look back on them and think, oh my God, I wish I'd had someone to tell me to forget about that one. Spend your time thinking about something else. So I suppose it is being very respectful to somebody else's ideas, because bridal isn't my industry, although I would have, I would have loved to have worked in the world of bridal, but it's not my industry. But there are things that run across all business, and it's recognising those things and where your experience can help. But I think it's being very respectful towards somebody else's ideas and enthusiasm. Catherine's really enthusiastic and passionate about her business, which is fantastic. You can't have a good business if you're not enthusiastic and passionate about your business. So, I think it's being respectful.
So, advice I'd give to anyone looking to take on the program is just to be really open and honest about what it is they're wanting to achieve with their business, because you can really get great things out of it just with the advice from others.
I think that people who would be considering joining the program as a mentor, to consider that they actually have a lot to offer, because if you think back to all those years ago when you did these things, the whole idea of mentor-mentee wasn't such a thing decades ago. But I think that, I'm learning now as I get really older that you do have a lot to offer and a lot of wisdom. And so lots of issues, concerns, ideas or thoughts or inspiration that people have, you've actually been there, done that. So I think it's a good thing. I'm a helpful person. I like to be able to help other people. And I think to recognise also that you stop a lot of agony for people. Because when you have your own business, you live, breathe, eat and sleep your own business. And sometimes it's a great thing to be able to discuss that with somebody who is wiser and knows a lot more and has experience. So I think mentors have a lot to offer to people who are either new in business or, still people who've been in business for quite some time. The people who, make great mentees are those people who are excited and enthusiastic and brimming with ideas, and but just don't kind of know how to organise it in their heads. Or, on the other hand, someone who could be quite well established in a business and has a particular issue at the moment, and so, they just want some assistance with that. But also as a mentee, I think you have to be, on one hand, the mentor needs to be receptive to ideas, and so a mentee also needs to be receptive to advice.
I would say there's quite a few things that will stick with me. I'm, as a lot of creatives are, pretty scattered in everything that I do, and I lack a lot of order. So those sort of systems that I've put in place now, I certainly won't be getting rid of anytime soon. It's helping me stay on track, that's for sure. So I'd say that would, for me, be something that I'll definitely keep. I certainly feel like I'm now being able to really be quite creative again, even with the lockdowns or even with the way that I was doing the business before, because I had no creativity in it at all. But now that I'm not a homeschool teacher, I'm loving the fact that I have dedicated hours to really work on my business and my designs, and I've also got someone in to do a majority of my alterations now, so I'm not taking on all of that workload. So it's being able to really focus on this next chapter.